us plant collectors like to pretend that we're regular, normal human beings and we make rational decisions. But a lot of the times that can be so far from the truth when it comes to our plants. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel Houseplantygoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see some of it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. Over the years I've got thousands of comments, DMs from a lot of people that would class themselves either as plant hobbyists or plant collectors. And the one thing I have realised over this period of time is that we're all quite similar in the things that we do. So I want to dive into a topic today which is a lot of things that we do and pretend that are normal when no rational person would do this under normal circumstances. And most of this will probably not apply to everybody, but at least a few of these will probably apply to most of us. Let's start off strongly, shall we? How many of us out there are sneaking plants into the house so that partners, family, flatmates, friends do not see the plants when they're coming into the house? It's just, oh no. This plant has always been here. I don't know how you've not noticed this plant. It has always sat in that corner. You must be imagining things. Maybe you just weren't paying attention. That's only if you get caught. The good ones of us out there don't ever get caught. But yes, the reality of that is that's not normal. That's not normal. And I think when you kind of like scratch the surface a bit more on that, it's just that we all know that maybe at that point the hobby has gone down a bit of a rapid route towards slightly crazy. And the point is, we at least recognize that. Even if it's subconsciously, we recognize that. And usually partners, family, friends, flatmates, all of these things are highly aware that it's maybe getting out of control because you went from 1 to 2 or 3 plants. Look, don't they look great on this shelf? A bit of green in the house. Look, it's bringing life into the house, to all of a sudden living in a jungle. As I say this with jungle behind me. I am including myself in every single one of the things that we're going to talk about today. But yeah, it's the one that is just a bit like, oh, if I bring this in and nobody realizes that I brought this plant in, it never happened. Never happened. Never happened. And how about the usual, I'm just gonna buy this plant as a replacement for a plant that I may or may not have killed. So we do this a lot. We do this a lot because it's a bit like, okay, this plant didn't make it, or the previous one didn't make it. I am specifically holding up a clarinarium, and for the people that know, they know why I've picked up this plant. And all of a sudden, this is a replacement plant. This has always been okay. It's fine. It never struggled. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. Look, it's fine. And I mean, this is one of those ones that is just a bit like, I understand it. Because at the same time, it's just like, you know what? You really like that plant. For some reason, for whatever reason, that plant might no longer, the original plant, might no longer be with you. And you just say, no, I quite enjoyed growing it. I want it back in my space. Whether or not it is common house plants that you can find everywhere and you can just easily kind of add it back into your home or your collection, or whether or not it's a rare plant which has a hefty price tag, although most rare plants these days don't really have as much of a hefty price tag as they used to. There is a bigger question there. It's just like, if you're spending hundreds of insert monetary figure here for a plant and then it dies and then you replace it with more hundreds to replace that, at that point, I'd be having a word with myself. You should probably be having a word with yourself as well. It's just that's an expensive mistake to make. And good on you if you think you're not going to make it again, but slightly risky. Question on this one, because when I was making this list up, I was kind of sitting there going, there's a side little kind of quest on this one. How many people out there if a common houseplant, one that you can find everywhere, dies, do you say, okay, that's easy, I can replace that at any given time, but then maybe don't replace that one as quickly? I'm just really curious because there's a slight kind of resting on your laurels, kind of going, you know what, I can find this anywhere, so I can get this at any time. I don't need to do that right now. I'm going to do that at some point in the future, and then years go by. Again, there's a reason why I'm holding this plant here. When I first killed my first Clarinervium, which was at least 4 to 5 years ago, at that point I was definitely kind of saying to myself, I'm definitely going to get this again. I kind of ish enjoyed growing it. I'd like to challenge myself again to get it. But you know what? It's relatively common. I can find it everywhere. It's fine. I'll get it at some point in the future in terms of a large specimen. Note, I was not able to find a large specimen. I know there are probably some out there, at least for a reasonable price. There was a point where they were getting huge specimens of this. Not huge, but much larger than this for the same amount of money that I paid for this. So I am curious, is that just me, or is that kind of like resting on your laurels going, oh, it's a common houseplant, I'll add it at some point, and then it either doesn't happen or it happens so much later? Let me know. And then, wah, wah, wah. Pretending that a dying plant is recovering. It's fine, it's just bouncing back. It's just bouncing back. Meanwhile, there is no roots, no leaves, no nothing. You've got a wet stick and a prayer and a hope that it's gonna come back. I am holding up the Anthurium recardum. Not that you would know just by looking at this on your screen, which has perished a while back. And this was the example that I'm just like, you know what, whilst I'm picking this up, I keep using this as an example. I do need to get rid of it. And as I was picking it up today, watch me do this in real time, I've noticed two growth points and a root that is rooting in quite nicely. So that's not dying, it's recovering. But like, for real, how many of us out there do this? I cannot be the only one that has got plants that either look like they're on the brink of death, and I've got several that I could show you in here, or that literally look like they're dead. Some of them might be. This one, as I said, there might still be some life in this one yet. Although, to be fair, sorry, side comment here. I'm trying something different with my anthuriums now that I've got access to it. And instead of using damp sphagnum moss, and I might try it with this one actually, is instead of also doing the moss collar around my anthuriums, I am now doing that with tree fern fiber as an experiment to see how it goes. Because I find with kind of damp sphagnum moss, if you let some of these things go too dry, it becomes exponentially harder to re-wet dried sphagnum moss. And I'm pretty sure, based on the small experience that I've had so far with tree fern fiber, that isn't as much of an issue. It can re-wet a lot faster. So I'm gonna try that. Keep you posted. If anybody's already tried it and they've had successes or failures, please help somebody out by telling me down below not to bother if it's all gonna go to shit. But yes, plants that are clearly dying or dead, that are most definitely not recovering. Not at this point, not when it's been months or weeks later, basically. How about another big one? Ignoring pests around you, in your plants. I'm looking at people with the fungus gnats as well here. Just pretending that doesn't happen. I don't have a pest problem. I don't have a pest problem. I may have seen a mealybug here, and a mealybug there, and a mealybug there, but it's one per plant. It's fine. It's not a problem. It's okay. It's okay. Or I'll deal with it at some point, when I've got the time. Note that I'm not using the example of thrips here, because if there's one pest that will get people freaking out in terms of dealing with it as quickly as possible, it's thrips. Ironically enough, and I will tell you my experiences with this, I am 100% aware that this does not apply to most of the people watching this, because people still worry about thrips. And to be fair, I do as well on occasion when I do get thrips. My reaction of going from 0 to 100 isn't generally kind of allocated to thrips these days. It tends to be on mealybugs on plants that are either not in here, which I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that the mealybugs in this place are pets at this point. Pets I hate, but pets nonetheless. Ugh. But I'm much more kind of hyper aware if it does happen anywhere else in the house, because I'm just sitting there going, the rest of my house is like my quarantine zone. It does not deal with mealybugs. I do not want to be introducing this level of madness to the rest of my damn house. So, and there is going to be that pest for everybody out there. I'll be curious to know, especially the beginners. I'm not including people that have been doing this for a while because by and large, they don't tend to be as reactive to fungus gnats in terms of having fungus gnats. But I'm curious even with the people with fungus gnats, when you know you've got a problem and you want to be dealing with it, how many weeks or months are you sitting there swatting the fungus gnats away from your face before you actually take some action? I know for a lot of people it'd probably be quite quickly, but for the people that have been doing this for a while, it's fine, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. It's okay, it's okay. And I am aware that there's going to be differences in terms of collectors and hobbyists there, and more specifically, collection size. Because I can sit here with as many plants as I've got and say this happens to me, and it's more likely to happen to somebody who's got a whole bunch of plants or doesn't have the energy on a daily basis to deal with this as quickly as everybody else. And it's very different to somebody that maybe has a collection of 20 or 30 plants, or people that have downsized. I get it. You're a lot better at being able to respond to that point when it's at this scale. You're just like, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. It's not a right now problem. I'll deal with it. It's okay. The pests don't exist. It's fine. It's fine. And how about the thing that a lot of us still do years after we've been in the hobby, the obsessive checking and checking and checking again and checking again. This is especially true in two situations. One, a brand new plant that you've only just added to your collection recently. See Queen of Hearts. See slug damage. Still there, hasn't got worse. Has not got worse. I mean, it's going to stretch out because the leaf is probably still, I don't know if it's going to get much bigger, the leaf. But I think it's at the stage of starting to harden off now. Is it slightly smaller than the older leaf? Yes. But that doesn't worry me too much because this came in very juvenile as a new tiny leaf in shipping, and the fact that it's kept the leaf, let alone that it's sizing it up, I couldn't wish for any more. But yes, back to my original point, how many people, the constant checking on plants. So again, two things, new plants or favorite plants. Or maybe there's a third one as well. Difficult plants. Queen Anthurium, for example, it just happens to be here, so. Yeah. How many of us? How many of us? Because I know that is something that happens a lot when you're first starting off, the constant like, and what's going on? And keep in mind, your other like 100 plants could drown for all you care at that point. At that point, your hyper focus is on one or two plants going, but I've noticed, and this little bump wasn't here before, or there's one singular something on here. Oh no, it's good. It's perlite. It's not a mealybug. That's okay. Whew. How many of us? How many of us obsessively like checking in on plants? I encourage all of us to take a big step back and look at that as if we were observing ourselves and just go, that may be not the sanest of things. And I mean this with all the love in the world. As I said, these are things that I do. Every single thing on this list, I also do. It's fine. But so when people, there is a point to this, when people kind of say, I don't like the term like plant mum or plant dad or like plant parent and all these things, and I know they can be a bit twee and it's not for everybody. These kind of things, I'm just sitting there going, this is very reminiscent of a lot of my friends who've got young kids. Hovering parents. Hovering plant parents. And there is a point, there is a tipping point where this no longer becomes an obsession, as in like you move on to the next thing. So there's obviously only so much like hovering that you can do. So if I was to get another plant that would excite me as much as this soon, I'd probably still check on this, but maybe not so much. Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's people that will obsessively check on plants for weeks or even months or even years. If that's you, let me know down below. There is no shame. I keep saying this. My comments, I try as much as possible to keep them a safe space. Everybody can have their own opinions. Be respectful of each other and myself if you possibly can. But we can all have differing opinions. That's absolutely fine. But also for these types of videos where we all feel the need to vent and laugh and make fun of ourselves. There is something very healthy about making fun of ourselves. Those comments should be a safe space. Should be an absolute safe space. Feel free to vent. But yeah, the obsessively checking on plants that are completely fine is a thing. It's a real thing. Oh, and this one I think is going to apply to a lot of us. Buying plants just because they're on sale. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. We have all done this at least once. I would hazard a guess at least. Where it's just that, oh, look, it's a plant. I had no intention of buying this plant. I wasn't even necessarily looking to get this plant at any point in the future, but you know what? It's 50% off. And I'm not even talking about the struggle buses. I'm not talking about the reduced to clear because they look like they've been through it. I'm talking about just regular plants that might be put on sale. And you're just like, did I need another Hoya calistophylla? Probably not. Did I kill the first one because I obviously can't grow it in that specific space? Yes. Will this be any different? Hopefully. The things we say to ourselves. But there is something to be said about kind of going in somewhere and just kind of go, look, this is on sale. This may have fallen accidentally into the basket, into the trolley. I might have not have even had a basket or a trolley, but I wasn't planning, but I need to get a basket or a trolley now. And at that point, it's game over. I see you, I do the same. As I said, I do the same. When you're just like, I'm even better, like these days I will go into a plant store or like my local garden center where I find a lot of like good finds, and I will purposely not pick up either a basket or a trolley and just walk around the shop and just go, I'm doing this because I have no intention of buying anything. And then you'll find something invariably in a sale. And you're just like, oh, I'll get this. And then maybe it's just me, but I'm just like, whilst I'm here already, I wasn't planning on buying anything, but if I'm buying this because it's on sale, let me just have a quick look and see what else is here. The plant shops know what they're doing, it's fine. In business terms, a lot of the times, it's called a loss leader, where it's just a bit like, what was the example? I think I saw this online recently. Is it Costco, where there's like the hot dogs are like really, really cheap, like $1 or £1 or £1.50 or $1.50, where the business makes no money, it loses money, but they keep it at that price because it gets you into the store and you're more likely to then purchase. If you're, well, I'm already here, I'm already buying this, I wasn't intending on buying this, I may as well go all out. And then I usually go and get a trolley or a basket, and just significant damage is going to happen then. Also linked to another slightly dubious thing that we all do, where it's just like, I buy this space. I know that there's no space anywhere in my house or my conservatory for new plants. Does that matter when you find a good deal or when you are in a buying craze? No. That's a later memo problem. That is a later memo problem. I do hear you as well. I know I've got a lot of conscientious viewers as well, where you'll kind of point out the overconsumption. We get it. A lot of us are trying to improve. It takes some effort. I'm including myself in this. But yeah, I get it. But yeah, picking up a plant that you were never intending to pick up because it's just on sale. Look, it's so pretty. It's cheap. When am I ever going to find it again for that? You might have never have bought it at any price, but because it's on sale, it's just like, well, if you're here, it'd be rude not to. I'm gonna take you home with me, bye. And to wrap this up, how about keeping a plant around that should have been thrown months ago? And I bought out a plant that doesn't look entirely dead for a good reason. Because it's different than the one that I was talking about before, where you're just like, this plant is rehabbing, it's fine, and it's either on the brink of death or is past that point and you just haven't realized because you don't check on it that often. You just know that it's in recovery. But this plant, this is, oh, and I cannot remember this name. I'll put it somewhere at the top. This is a Syngonium. And I'm going to tell you my situation, and it probably applies to a lot of people out there. But this is a plant that I got ages ago, and it was doing really well for a long period of time, and then it struggled, and it kept struggling. But it wasn't dying. It was still kind of keeping some of its leaves. The bad thing is this is some plant that I should have thrown away months ago, because I'm just like, realistically, I'm not going to be able to bring this back. The problem that I'm having now is I've got a whole flush of new leaves, and some of them are getting bigger again. Again, watch this happen in real time whilst I'm doing this video. Just kind of go, oh, maybe not. I'll put it back. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's okay. It's okay. This doesn't need throwing away just yet. The reality is, am I going to throw this away now after the video? No. Because I know myself too well. Because I'm just going, oh, this is encouraging. I've got new leaves. Because I've not had new leaves on this plant for a while. So I've changed position, I've changed the substrate. The net pot situation, for anybody that's been watching for the last couple of weeks, I am so glad I've rediscovered net pots. So glad. Even more so these clear net pots that I got on Amazon that are meant to be, they're not called net pots, which means they don't cost the earth. They're still not the cheapest thing, but they don't cost as much as searching on Amazon for net pots. These are orchid pots. Done really well with a lot of the plants that I was struggling before for months and nothing was happening. I've put them in some net pots, same media, same conditions, same everything else, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, look at it, look at it. So never underestimate the value of airflow or oxygen being available to your roots, because a lot of the times you might not think it's that, but these kind of orchid pots have proven to me time and time again in the last few weeks that actually, huge deal. Huge deal. Even with some plants that are meant to be more terrestrial, that don't need, you would assume, don't need as much air in around the roots. Huge, huge improvements. But yeah, that one plant that you're just not, you should have been binned. You should have been going to the great compost heap in the sky a while back, but you're still here. Possibly not just necessarily just throwing away your plants, but possibly like if there's a plant that's fine, but you don't like it, maybe just regifting it to somebody else. That's also an option. But yes, what do you all think? I am sure, as I said, at the beginning of the video, I said this. I am sure that if most of these don't apply to all of you out there, at least a few of these probably apply. Again, this is me not shaming anybody. There's a reason why I'm essentially on a regular basis these days airing my dirty plant laundry out on the internet because I want these conversations to happen. This is normal, this is who we are, and it's fun sometimes. As long as we're the ones making fun of ourselves, it's fine. I'm a bit of a traditional tourist that you come from my planty people and you're not a planty person, I will take you down. But within ourselves, it's fine. Because, as I said, questionable things that we do that most sane people probably wouldn't do. But yes, I've kind of told you throughout this video to put things down in the comments, but ultimately share what you want down below. I am sure the comments, if for no other reason, are probably going to be quite entertaining. I was going to say I've become that person now. If I'm watching things on TikTok or Reels or even YouTube, I'm a lot faster of going down to the comments, because a lot of the times, even if a video is funny up top, the comments, priceless down below. But yes, sorry, I've kept you for far too long. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon. And I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.